going to be dragonflies tonight, and that is because I'm going to take you through how to start seeing yourself with transparency. And the best part is you doing work with you. No one knows anything about it unless, of course, you do a YouTube channel where you feel like you need to share your process, and that would be me. So I want you to think about your mom, and I want you to think about a memory, one of the harshest memories you can think about, or one of the most impactful memories of something that occurred when you were young with your mom. And I want you to start to think about how it made you feel. And I want you to think about what was involved and what those feelings felt like as a little kid. And I want you to think about that as if it were here right now. And the reason why I'm asking you to do that is that there's a lot of impactful things that occur when we're younger with our mom and our dad that really affect us now. And they're intertwining into those loops we talked about, which we're all in if you're a human. So for me, that memory was my mom had this thing about her diet bars, and no one was allowed to touch them. Now, my mom would get upset, and then she would get frustrated with us, all of us, there's 4 of us, when those bars, diet bars, would go missing, and she'd line us up. And this was something she liked to do even when she was upset and she couldn't figure out which kid did what. She would line us up and she would question us. And it was scary as a little girl. And it made me feel like when I said something, that my word was never taken for value. Now, take that and multiply that into an entire human life, right? And it's a long time to re-explain yourself because you're feeling like the person on the other side either can't hear you or doesn't want to hear, doesn't think you're telling them the truth. By the way, I didn't ever take my mom's divorce. Probably because I didn't know where they're at. No, I'm just kidding, I knew where they're at. But my point is that it was very traumatic as a child to have my words. So there's a few things I noticed that I did. I would repeat myself and I would over-explain. And those are some of the effects that were looping into that experience. Now that was my mom's thing that I could think of. And it also too is that the person that you love, it doesn't feel safe to you. It's like you love them and at the same time you don't understand where that relationship just went to, right? So that was also very difficult. And I would say that both in friendships and also in love relationships, I can see how that's looped back in. So I went in and as a little girl, this was my process. I went and I said, Mom, this is how I felt in those moments. And it's not okay. But I forgive you. And it caused a lot of confusion as I got older. But I know you were doing your very best and that you had a lot of pain you were going through. And this is an opportunity for us to end the cycle between us. So it doesn't have to go further down the line with my family lineage one way, which is future. And it doesn't have to go down my family lineage now the back way, which was probably how she received the pain. And we get to end something. And then I get to cancel. I want to retain the lesson and the information, but I do cancel all contracts, all agreements, and all relationships to that cycle. Because what I'm doing, if I don't, is bringing in, that loop in again, that experience of that pain again and again and again, right? So I'm going to search out in all the world. There are a lot of people out in the world. Like, I went out the other night. I was like, I've never seen not one of these faces in my life, right? This is the town I grew up in. I was thinking, I don't know who these people are. My point to you is that it in a sea of no matter how many, and I've traveled, right? So it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to find the specific type of energy that's going to match up with your energy until it's not your energy anymore. And this brings me to a second part to this piece of it. Is that the moment you step into the part of you, the self that's you, that is no longer the victim of it, no longer the little girl suffering from it, but the potential of this fully realized human, right? This human being that's also soul. And you take on a bit as a human part of yourself. You take on the more expanded part of yourself when you can see it from all aspects now, right? And you say, I'll retain that lesson, but I don't need to recreate it anymore. I don't need to recreate those things. You can look and scan through your life to see if it's in any of your relationships in the current moment. This is a very advanced way to show up to your life. Because and I'm not saying it's advanced, you're advanced, whatever. I hope you get what I'm saying. And if not, this video might not be for you at this moment. I don't even want to say that because I don't want to exclude anyone. My point to you is that it takes more emotional maturity and awareness to see your part in the participation of something and to own it than to shame or blame yourself or shame or blame another. And we have an entire society that's been based on shame and blame. Shame and blame us, shame and blame them, but there's no resolution and there's no evolution. And my channel is based on evolution of self. And then I'm sharing that evolution of how I'm doing it, because I'm going to work you out the way I work myself out. And that's when I start sharing it with you. Now you can do that with your father piece of it as well, because each one has a story. And you can go through brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, whatever direction you would like to go based on your family history. I didn't grow up with a lot of aunts, uncles, and cousins and all that stuff. They were on the East Coast, we were on the West Coast, so I didn't. But there's also things in there for, your brothers and sisters and, maybe neighbors, maybe other kids. This is one way to start looking at how that loop in can finally find resolution in a way that benefits you, benefits your soul. We don't have to keep relearning a lesson. We don't have to keep recreating it if we're not trying to relearn it, or if we're not trying to learn it. Once we acknowledge it, that is the learning process, and that's how it stops. And then your part of energy that was going in that loop now has an opportunity to go into a redirection. Like, okay, so it's like, I can't wait to experience relationships that take my word for its value, and I can't wait to be in a consensual relationship like that feels good for both people, that they are transparent and they speak how they feel, and then you don't question where you're at, and they don't question where you're at, and everyone is talking in a clean, concise way. Like, I'm super excited about that. That's one of the benefits. Also, I don't want Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde in a relationship with someone. I don't want to look for your Mr. Hyde. I don't want to look for your Mrs. Hyde in friendships. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to, utilize my energy in a way that doesn't create more light and love. And now I don't have to, because I've learned the lesson and I saw where it was coming from, and I'm one step more into alignment with my I am presence that already is in its perfection. Right? And where that percentage is at, I don't know. And where that percentage is at for you, I don't know. That's for you to decide. That's for your journey. We all are going back as humans, beings that are also souls. We're all going back to our original state. How we choose to do that, and what that original state is, and the list goes on and on, right? Because it's that's a very expanded conversation. Is for you to know, right? Is for you to know thyself, to thyself be true. We're all had experiences from our family's history in some degree or not, right? And those, or the ones that I'm meant to connect with, have. And this is an opportunity for us to step in and not feel shameful that we need to step in, but feel glad that we can step in to that mix. So I do hope this transparency video reached as many hearts out there and created aha moments. Your freedom, my freedom, it's all the same, right? I don't want one human being out there not having the freedom to reconnect up to its original, purest, beautiful state again. And if I want to see that change, I'm going to be that change. And then I'm going to support the change through this video. And I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share it with you. But you know what I always do? I'm going to encode this video as I encode all videos. That this video is meant for those that are ready to see themselves more beautifully. Loops that were there creating pain can now create new experiences of joy and happiness, and your breaths away from everything and anything if we just take steps that create real, integral, awareness of how we are experiencing it, why we're experiencing it, and what we get to experience becomes the second part of it. You know what I mean? Anyways, I encode this video. Hush, little baby, don't you talk no more. And I encode this video with the highest light, highest love, and highest of sounds and vibration. And I give you my vibrational sound. So it activates your vibrational sound, like reflections in the mirror. And I'm very proud of you if you've made it all the way through the video and you've had some aha moments. I'm excited. I'm excited that there's one more of you out in the world, 2 more of you out in the world, 3 more of you, and the list goes on and on and on, that are moving into their greatest possibility. I know I am. 1 second at a time, 1 inch at a time. It's happening. I don't know if these little ditties at the end will stay in. I guess I could. I mean, why not? Why not? What's a little bit? But I like to do these little songs sometimes when I just start hearing fun little cute songs in my head at the end of things sometimes. I'm feeling a little shy now, so I'm going to get off this video. Have a great day.